Hello, and welcome to episode 20 of Mish, Mayhem.
Mish, Mayhem!
The podcast where we take the schoolyard conversation of, hey, which one of these fictional characters have been in a fight? And we talk about it on a podcast.
That's what this is.
Hell sure it is, for the 20th time. Really excited.
20th time. That's as many times as I've...
Got fingers and toes.
Yes. I mean, arguably, I only got fingers and toes once, and it was when I was born. I just haven't lost any. But equally, it's also as many times as I have the number of fingers and toes. The record, I have 15 fingers.
Blimey. And only 5 toes.
Yes, it was an awkward day at work.
When your toes got put on a hand, and then 4 became fingers.
Yeah, when you're running down the corridor and someone's running the other way, and like you slip up and you accidentally kick them in the hand, and their hand hits you with such force that it comes off and replaces your foot, and immediately super bonds on because they were carrying super glue. You know, that happens to the best of us.
It does happen to the best of us.
Right, so it's episode 20, Mishmash Mayhem. Do people know what Mishmash Mayhem is?
Probably not.
Probably not. Oh, that's a shame.
Unless they've listened to the other 19 episodes.
Or any amount of those other episodes. But for those of you who might not have, this is a show where we're going to discuss some fictional characters and how they do in a fight. So last week we had Rock Lee from Naruto, who was victorious, and he therefore is the reigning champion with his Mish, part 1 of his Mishmash Mayhem.
Yes.
Third of the way to the entrance to the Hall of Fame, where he will join other users who I can't remember right now, but I probably could if I fought hard enough. I want to say it's Drax, Lilith, Ryu, and that's it.
It is though. Yep, those are the Hall of Fame currently.
Wonderful. I'm not as stupid as I think I am. But first, he's got to go through 2 more contestants. Speaking of which, what's going to happen is we're going to introduce our characters for the day. We'll start with the reigning champion, and then we'll go on to the impending challenger. And we're going to go through their weapons, their armor, their fight style, how nice they are, what their favorite hobby is, whether they prefer Pepsi or Coke, and other questions for rolling the probably trademarked, but not actually trademarked because we haven't gone through the hassle of that. The Die of Death.
The Die of Death.
The Die of Death. To work out where these combatants are going to fight. And then we're going to have a discussion about how we think that fight would go. And then one of them's going to be alive and one of them's not. Probably.
Yes, unless something unexpected happens.
Unless something unexpected happens, yes. In which case they both might be alive, or they both might be dead. Or they both might be half alive. Either way, someone will win and someone will lose.
Yes, that is usually what happens in a competition.
Yes, unless it's a draw.
Can you imagine if there's a draw and episode 21 is the same people?
I'm not sure that's how it would work. I think we'd have to say they both lose.
So yeah, that's what we're here to do today. But who are we? I'm Chris.
I'm Matt. Or Wade. Or Matt Wade.
Matt, here for 20 episodes, Wade.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm quite excited about the fact we've got to 20 episodes.
When you next hear me, I'll have a new job.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I'll probably have a new job by the time you hear me before this episode, but that won't be at recording time hearing me.
So that's it. That was the other fun thing. Speaking of life and the such. So, what do you think about the fact that at time of recording next week or at time of release last week would have been Halloween? You doing any Halloween things?
Honestly, no fucking idea. I mean, I've got way too much on my mind. I say on my mind. I mean, I'm just way too busy to think about things like Halloween.
True. You're going to move city, so I guess you won't know people and it would be hard to organise a Halloween thing.
Yes, and I'm staying in a hotel for the first month.
Oh.
So I'll be like, hey guys, do you want to come crash in my hotel room?
Some hotels frown upon that.
Yes, I would frown upon it as well. There you go. Right. Anyway, without further ado, there's a dude to introduce.
Yeah.
To reintroduce.
Yes. Rock Lee.
He
a
sounds
ninja.
like broccoli, but he isn't a vegetable.
No, I have a broccoli teddy who's called Brock Lee after Rock Lee.
Which is awesome.
Yes. It's one of the IKEA broccoli teddies. Because IKEA do vegetable teddies.
To encourage you to eat your friends.
Teddies. Yeah.
I believe that's what they're there for.
I think so, yeah. So, Rock Lee. He is a skilled ninja in the arts of Taijutsu, one of the 3 ninja schools of fighting. There's ninjutsu, which is all magic powers and the such. It's all like crazy elemental attacks and stuff. Very anime. It's cool. There's genjutsu, which is like mind games and illusions and the such. And then there's taijutsu, which is the stuff that's plausibly real.
I mean, arguably magicians use genjutsu.
No, magicians use sleight of hand.
Is that not genjutsu?
No. Well, genjutsu is all things like creating clones or like mirror images of yourself or torturing somebody for 1,000 years for every second they live.
Yeah, but like you say making clones, but like shadow clones and water clones, that's not genjutsu.
I believe technically it does come under genjutsu.
Really?
I think so. It might not, but
I'm intrigued. Gonna look it up.
Certainly, like they're creating illusions of them. You know, like if you had a non-solid clone, so to speak, if you know what I mean, that would be a genjutsu. And I believe like substitution jutsus and stuff are genjutsus, because making people believe that logs are you. But yeah, so out of these 3 ninja schools, Lee is slightly deficient in ninjaing because he is only able to do taijutsu. However, despite that, he's determined to become the best ninja ever. So he wants to become so good at taijutsu that it doesn't matter he can't do ninjutsu or genjutsu, and he's just going to punch his problems away, which he does pretty effectively.
Hooray!
He's a very competent fighter because he is ridiculously fast and ridiculously strong, well able to punch anything that comes in his way or kick it or other things, throw it sometimes. But yeah, his sort of incredible speed and strength allows him to fight very effectively. He's also just generally quite a well-meaning character. You know, he is all about bigging up his friends and encouraging them to do well in life. He's very supportive. He also doesn't like excessive cruelty. He thinks that fights should be done with honor, and once an opponent is defeated, they should be, you know, like left defeated. You shouldn't keep going into them and, you know, doing an unnecessary amounts of damage, because he is a nice guy.
Yay, nice guy Lee.
Right. And as well as his traditional fighting style, he is also very skilled at the drunken fist fighting style, because he has a very low alcohol tolerance, and being drunk makes you violent.
It does.
It does in his sense anyway. Everyone's quite scared of drunk Lee, apparently. But the way that he is efficient when he is drunk is that he becomes very unpredictable, which makes his moves hard to anticipate. And where he is incredibly strong and violent, his unpredictability just makes him very, very dangerous, which is how he has been able to stand up to people much more skilled than him in fights when he was drunk, because they can't anticipate what he's going to do. So the way that the ninjas' powers work in the narrative series is that they have a thing called chakra which flows through their body. It's kind of like their chi or essence or the such, but this is blocked off by a set of 8 gates so that they don't become overwhelmed by the chakra within them. And now Lee has learned to open these gates, which increases his already phenomenal speed and strength by a significant amount for each gate he opens. However, doing this has big negative impact on his body, because it is a massive strain to have that much energy burning through you.
Oh no.
I know. So he only does this in dire circumstances, but he can do it. So at the point where the Lee I'm going to be using is he can open 6 of the 8 gates in order to do this. I mean, I know if he's opened all 6, at least in the games, he gets this cool ability called the Mad Dance of Infinity, where he basically just sort of teleports up to his opponent and sort of punches them like, I don't know, like 100 times in a second or something. It's ridiculous, but ludicrously powerful.
Yeah.
Like most things Lee does, he is a ridiculous and powerful person. But that's pretty much a quick recap of Lee. That's kind of the things he does. He does lots of punches and kicks that very strong and very fast, but not an excessive amount, only enough to win.
Only enough to win.
So, what crazy person is Lee going to be against today? Do you remember what your clue was?
I think it was something along the lines of, he would say it is but a scratch. It's only a flesh wound. I don't remember what my clue was, fully, because I'm terrible. But it was something like that.
It was something like that, yes.
But for those of you who don't know, they're from an ancient time, both literally and figuratively. They hail from the time of the quest for Camelot, not the animated film, which was really cool and had like a 2-bodied dragon thing and an evil man who could fuse swords into his arm. But no, the actual quest for Camelot time, it's of course the Black Knight from Monty Python.
Yay.
Yeah. What was that sarcastic yay for?
No, it wasn't sarcastic. I like, especially as it is, episode 20, I like that we've got the combination of like a very powerful fighter and a very ridiculous character.
Yes.
The fun absurdity of it all is kind of what this podcast was there for.
we were never going to have fair fight after fair fight after fair fight. It was never going to happen. Oh dear. So for those of you who don't know, I mean, first of all, for those of you who don't know what Monty Python is, I'm looking at you, Roxana.
Oh shit, just straight call out.
Just straight call out. She knows what it is. I tried to force her to watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but she didn't want to. So maybe some other time. It was I don't even know what kind of humor to call it. It was a different kind of humor. A British. That's the best way to put it. A British humorous.
It's a real comedy, isn't it? And quite slapstick.
Yeah, that's probably a good term. The Black Knight hails from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which was one of the films in where King Arthur is forming a band of knights for the Round Table to go to Camelot and then to acquire the Holy Grail. I can't remember why he's acquiring the Holy Grail, to be honest. It's not really that important. In his travels, he's comes into some woodlands and there's a shallow ditch upon which a black knight stands. A red boar emblem blazoned in on his, I don't know, probably a doublet or something. I don't know what it's called. And he's fighting a man, a green, heavily armored man, and they're proper going at it. And the Black Knight manages to slay this man, and we'll go into more detail into that shortly. Before oh God, what's his name? King Arthur. What's his name? Oh, only the most famous king in England. Goes to try and recruit him into his thing. So the Black Knight, his role is he guards the most ridiculous tiny crossing of this tiny ditch from all and everyone. Indeed, King Arthur comes across to him and he's like, I'd like you to join. You fight with the strength of many men. I'd like you to join my knights. And the Black Knight just stands there looking imposing and says nothing, with his very large sword, his hands resting upon its hilt. And then he's like, oh, well, very well, I'll be on my way then. And then he's like, none shall pass. He's like, I'm the king, I command you to let me pass. But he doesn't let him pass, and instead they fight. Inevitably, he actually loses this fight. But let's go into, first of all, armor. We don't go into armor very often, because most of the time people are just wearing clothes. Or, you know, nothing to comment about. But this time,
I think, this would be the second armored character we've had.
I mean, we've definitely had people with some armor before, and we've probably commented on it lightly. But, this guy, I can actually see what he's wearing. So
it's black.
It's all black, apart from the red and blazing boar on his chest. He's wearing full chainmail armor. Chainmail is well renowned for being incredibly resistive against swords and anything slashing, really. In fact, I watched a really good YouTube video recently about different armor types and stuff, and it was going through like what kind of damages are these kind of good against. So
do you know who did the video?
Yes, it was Scalagrim. I'll link you to.
If people want to go and learn about armor,
oh my god, like
Scalagrim.
This guy just turned up in my YouTube like things one day. I think the first video that turned up was over analyzing the iconic duel in Princess Bride, because I've been watching that for other research things. And it was just so interesting. So I just started watching him. He's got some cool stuff. But anyway, yeah. Chainmail, full body chainmail. Incredibly resistant to slashing, traditional slashing damage. Not as good against piercing. You can pierce through chainmail. It's just, you still have to give it a bit of welly. And it's good at resisting bludgeoning damage, but it still you'll still feel the hit, but it will reduce the effect of the hit. And of course, if someone is hitting it with, say, their bare hand or their bare leg, it's going to hurt because you're hitting rings of metal. I don't know about you. The last time you punched some metal, I imagine it probably hurt.
Yeah, I think it did.
Unless, of course, you were either punching mercury, in which case you would have got poisoned, or you were punching tinfoil, in which case you're a pussy. He's also wearing a very large, pretty much cylindrical helmet. It looks like it's a tin can, pretty much, with an open eye slot and some breathing holes. Judging by the state of it, and it looks like it would be very resistant against traditional slashing and piercing damages, unless you manage to get right in the eye slot, which is going to be difficult in a fight. I mean, it's like, imagine trying to post a letter through a door box while the door's alive.
And not wanting to be posted through.
Yeah, that would be like that. You'd be like, oh, hello. Oh, no, it's not going right. Probably would cave into some bludgeoning damages, but he doesn't have a shield because instead he is equipped with a giant ass two-handed sword, which I can only assume is a great sword. I tried to look it up. I couldn't find out.
I don't imagine Monty Python is particularly historically accurate.
No, probably not. Given that they ride around on a man clacking coconuts together rather than a horse. It's so good. So he wields this giant ass sword, and he can throw this sword around. Like, you see him in the battle, he uses it to defend against a mace. And at one point, the man is running at him, like his other assailant, and he proper throws this sword like a javelin, and it goes straight through the eye visor of the poor other knight, and skewers his head in a deathly fashion, as opposed to a non-deathly fashion, which would arguably be worse.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be very pleasant to have your head skewered in a non-deadly fashion.
Yeah. So, this guy's strong enough to throw a pretty weighty sword through, a decent distance with incredible accuracy into someone's face skull, as opposed to their, body skull.
Skull face.
Yeah, skull face. As opposed to their skull face. He also uses the sword to fight well against King Arthur. Although it's kind of imagine that King Arthur is quite strong. The reason I say that is, as we've mentioned, he loses his fight to King Arthur.
There's no shame in losing to King Arthur.
There's absolutely no shame in losing to King Arthur. Because King Arthur is strong enough, apparently, in this, to cut off an entire man's arm with a sweep of a sword when that man is wearing chainmail. Yeah, that's true. He is wielding Excalibur. But yes, the Black Knight loses his arm, his entire arm. Conveniently for him, he doesn't tend to bleed much, which is something to note. After losing his arm, he is unhindered, other than having lost an arm. Essentially, he's lost his arm, but aside from the fact he's lost his arm, he's unhindered. Yeah,
he's not in pain.
Yeah, he's not in pain. He's not losing blood. He's just like, just but a scratch, just a flesh wound. He continues the fight.
Maybe he has a very good natural coagulant.
Yeah, he must do. The fight goes on. He loses his second arm, and even then, he still doesn't give up. King Arthur's like, this is over, and he goes to walk away, and the Black Knight starts kicking him in the knees and kicking him in the shins and headbutting him, and it's like, come on then. Eventually, losing his leg and then his second leg, the Black Knight is left but a legless, armless man who says, call it a draw, until King Arthur trundles past with his cohort of knighty men. He says, bite your legs off, still willing and raring to go and not showing any signs of dying, even having his leg and his leg cut off. And not
really, that's it's a strong determination.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think too many people nowadays are quite quick to be sort of a bit lazy with things. And it would be nice if other people had that sort of work ethic.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he's so committed to his task that even when he absolutely fails it and can't do anything other than just be kind of like a paperweight on the bridge that he was supposed to defend for whatever reason, he's still bent on doing it.
I think really we could all learn a lot from the Black Knight.
You know what I learned from the Black Knight, actually? Apparently, the scene originated because when John Cleese was doing an English class at school, he heard a story about two Roman wrestlers who were engaged in some really intense fight. And the fight had gone on for so long, they were so evenly matched that eventually they were pretty much just leaning on each other. And then one of the wrestlers finally tapped out and was like, I'm done. And then it was at that point that they realized that the other man had been dead. And was just falling on the band. So he'd lost the match to a dead man by quitting. How true that story is, I have no idea. Sorry, that story is true. How true the Roman wrestler story is, I have no idea. It sounds quite funny though.
It's pretty believable as well.
Yeah. Apparently the moral of the tale was if you never give up, you can't possibly lose. And John Cleese was like, well, that's just philosophically unsound.
Yes.
Which is hilarious.
I mean, that's it. I sort of say that we could all learn something from the amazing determination of the Black Knight. And although that is true, I also suggest that if you were to lose a limb, that you sort of, stop what you're doing and seek medical attention.
Yes. Yes, and if you were guarding a bridge to someone with a sword, probably relinquish it. How much is it really worth?
Also, if you're guarding a bridge and somebody comes at you with a sword, let them cross.
I mean, to be fair, he also had a sword at the time.
Oh, well, I mean, that's different. I mean, in a modern day circumstance, if somebody comes at you with a sword, just let them go.
Yeah. Even better, run away.
Or alternatively, if you want to cross a bridge and somebody is guarding it with a sword, take a different bridge.
I mean, the size of the ditch, like, you could have just stepped across it. It's such a stupid scene. That's why it's great. But anyway, I also think the Black Knight would prefer Pepsi.
So what?
Coke.
Why so?
I don't know, it just strikes me. Because Pepsi cans are stronger than cola cans. I don't know if you've noticed this.
I haven't. But go on.
Okay. If you get a Pepsi can and a Coke can, I think Pepsi cans are slightly thicker. Because they're stronger. Seriously, next time you get one next to each other, give them a crush in your hand, comparatively, and you'll be like, oh, he's absolutely right. Or you'll be like, he's talking bollocks. Like always.
Okay. I'll go and get some cans and I'll report back.
And I'll hear next week, like, oh, CK's in hospital because of his sugar levels. Oh no, it's all my fault.
I can get 0 ones. It's fine.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. So anyway, there you go. That is the Black Ornato.
So, can anything kill the Black Knight?
I mean, pass. There's very little I could find on the Black Knight. I imagine that he's just an eternal being.
Because with a lot of immortal things, it tends to be that decapitation will still work anyway.
Yeah.
Or if not decapitation, I mean, sometimes you can get still the head would move, but like destruction of the brain, at least.
I'd be willing to say that destruction of the brain is fine, and if not, if you decapitate him, at least he won't be able to speak anymore.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't be able to like breathe, and therefore use his voice box or something, and that would render him effectively null and void.
He wouldn't be able to claim he's still in the fight.
Yeah, exactly. He wouldn't be able to tell you that he's still carrying on, and he would seem effectively dead even if he's writhing around a bit. You'd probably just think it's spasms. And interesting thing I learned about him as well, he was played by 2 different people.
Really?
Yeah, he was played by John Cleese until he lost one of his legs. And then it turned out John Cleese wasn't very good at balancing on one leg, so he was played by a local blacksmith who just happened to have only one leg. And then once his other leg was cut off, he was played by John Cleese again.
That's amazing.
The things you find out.
That's so random that they'd go back to...
Go back to John Cleese afterwards. So yeah, there you go. That's that. And that is that's the tale of the Black Knight. Monty Python. There are many other Black Knights, but we don't care about them.
Yeah, most of the other ones are a bit more sensible.
What do you want about?
It's time to roll the die of death to find out what place we're going to. Oh, okay. So you know the film Toy Story?
I do know the film Toy Story.
So today's fight is taking place in Andy's bedroom.
In Andy's bedroom from Toy Story.
Yeah.
Are any of the toys there and alive?
I mean, they'd be there. Yeah, they'd probably be alive. I don't know how much they'd get involved because they're supposed to be still when there's people about.
That's very true. They would be still when people are about. That is the nature of all things. Well, that's a shame. That would be really, really fun if the toys got involved, but you're right.
I mean, I suppose they could. It depends, wouldn't it? Because obviously they will break that rule for their own survival because they all like scare Sid and stuff in the first film. It's basically the premise of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I guess if needs be, they will interact.
I see.
At the very least, they'll try and get themselves out of the way.
Well, how big is Andy's bedroom? It's not big, is it?
It's relatively large for a bedroom, but it is still ultimately a bedroom.
This is just silly for both people, isn't it? Neither of these people wants to fight in a bedroom.
No, it is perhaps a bit too confined for them. I don't know, actually. Like, the Black Knight probably won't find it too bad.
I mean, he wouldn't find it too bad if he had a normal sword, but it's the fact he's got full-length, double-handed sword.
Yeah, but it's not like he has to fight in the back of a taxi.
Yeah, that's true. It's bigger than that. I mean, to be fair, I'm looking at my room and I'm thinking, would I be able to swing around a full-blown sword in here? And the answer is, I'd probably be able to swing a full-arm sword in front of me to do attacks and parries, but I wouldn't be able to do what's called a danger zone.
Danger zone!
Yeah, I don't think it's actually called a danger zone, but one of the videos Scalagrim was mentioning how you can use a two-handed weapon to swing around loads, and it's only really effective if you're fighting lots of people who are coming in from a distance.
Yeah, you probably couldn't spin 360, but you could wield it like a regular sword.
Yes. I like to imagine he's in front of Andy's cupboard.
Okay.
I mean, arguably he should enter the room because that's the way we've always done it. You know, reigning champions.
Oh no, definitely. Lee can be in there, sat in the bed.
Is he like Andy's friend?
Yes, sure. Why not?
How does he know him?
They met at space camp.
Space camp was what was?
Oh no, he doesn't go to space camp. He goes to cowboy camp. Sorry, is where Andy does genuinely go. That's where he goes in Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
That's why he's not there for the whole film, because he's at cowboy camp.
He is. It's true, and they're trying to find Woody before he gets back from cowboy camp.
Yes.
And Rex uses his head.
Yes.
But I don't want to use my head. Classic. If you haven't seen Toy Story, watch Toy Story like almost immediately.
I mean, I think the first Toy Story is like my ultimate nostalgia film for my childhood.
Such a good film.
I mean, all four of them are absolutely excellent.
I still haven't seen the fourth one, actually.
I mean, I think the second one's probably the worst of the four.
Really?
Yeah. But all four of them are very good.
Yeah, they are some of the better Disney films, aren't they? Are they Disney? No, they're Pixar.
They're Pixar, yeah.
Disney at the time.
Yeah, they are all Disney Pixar. But yes, they are Pixar films. The thing that made me think of putting Andy's Room on the list was playing Kingdom Hearts 3 at the beginning of the year. And I was just like, oh my god, I'm in Andy's Room and it's wonderful.
Were you like toy sized or real sized?
You're toy sized.
Ooh.
But you can do all like parkour and run around the walls and stuff. But it's really cool.
Get hit by a lamp out a window. Classic Toy Story.
I mean, that is, I suppose, is the other thing we should consider, actually. If they're in Andy's Room, would it be better if they were toy-sized?
I mean, I feel like they should be.
Okay.
Because it's just more intrinsically associated with Andy's Room, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, how many times are you in Andy's Room as Andy rather than as toys? Most of the time you're in Andy's Room as toys.
Sure. All right. Okay, so in which case, they're going to be new toys.
Okay, yeah.
We're doing the toy version. Welcome to episode 20, toy version.
Toy version.
Mishmash Toy Story.
Mishmash Toy Story. Not to be confused with like Mishmash Toy, the Mishmash Potato Masher toy.
Mr. Mashed Potato Head.
Mr. Mashed Potato Head. Oh dear.
All right then. So Lee will be a relatively new toy, whereas
he's been there for a week.
And then the Black Knight is brought in as the new toy.
Yeah, he's brought in.
And then also, if they're toys and not people, then the other toys can in theory interact.
Yes, if Andy's left alone, yeah.
Yeah.
Which he
so that's it. So Andy's mum will come in and be like, oh, I've got a new toy and you can play with it after dinner. And Andy will be like, okay. And then I'll go out the room and then it'll be like, toys.
Toys, assemble.
Right. Because all the toys go to see the new toy.
Yeah, so like the Black Knight I imagine he's more of like, so you know how there's different like types of toys, right? So like Woody's like a soft toy, a soft doll toy, and like Buzz Lightyear is probably like a hard plastic action figure.
Yeah.
So I imagine that the Black Knight is more of a hard plastic action figure.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, obviously are we still having them as humans, but just toy sized? Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, but the point was, he probably comes in his classic pose. I suppose the point I'm making is when he's a toy, he flexes, even though he's a human, his rigidity is similar to a plastic rigid toy.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes, although he's a human, toy-sized, when Andy is playing with him, which he won't do, because, well, he might do after this if he wins. He's
a plastic toy.
He would be maneuvered effectively like a rigid plastic toy.
Yeah.
What about Rock Lee?
I think he'd be the same, really.
You think another rigid plastic toy? Okay, cool. So Rock Lee's like in some ninja pose, and like all the toys start coming to life, and the Black Knight's just like put there on, I don't know, probably like the desk maybe.
Yeah.
And he just stands there.
And he won't let any other toys on the desk. He'll be like, no, you can't pass.
It doesn't move at all. Like he's just stood
until
there.
The other toys go up to him. He's like, no, you can't get past him.
Yeah. All the other toys come up to him, including like Rock Lee, and they're all like, "Oh, hey, welcome to our like, I think I'm Woody and I'm whatever." And Rock Lee's obviously, oh, I'm Rock Lee. And he just sits there, stands there. It's like, none shall pass. And then Rock Lee suddenly realizes that he's the toy that's been bullying.
The toy of me.
Yes, your toy, but not Rock Lee, the toy. Unless Rock Lee is being borrowed by Andy from yourself.
Maybe. Oh man, wouldn't that be really cool if I was friends with Andy?
I mean, I think we're both friends of Andy, and I've lent him the Black Knight, and you've lent him Rock Lee.
That's even better. Who
Yes,
needs
that's
Andy's
what's happened.
mum?
Yeah, bloody Andy's mum having kids, running off. What's Andy's dad like? Do we ever see Andy's dad?
You never see Andy's dad.
Do we ever see Andy's mum?
Yes, briefly. She's in the first one, a reasonable amount, and then she's in the third one.
Yes, she is. I just googled Andy's mum.
I can't remember seeing her in the second one. She must be there. Yeah, she had the yard sale at the beginning.
She looks a bit like a sim, to be honest.
Well, she's not really an important character.
What about Andy's dad?
Andy's dad is never in it.
Yeah, he's not there.
So don't argue with me about Toy Story.
I'm not arguing with you about Toy Story. I just wanted to see. Right, okay. Anyway, right. So Black Knight's placed, and then Rock Lee realizes that that's the toy he's there to destroy / kill, because they're both humans shrunk down to the sizes of toys for the purposes of infiltrating the bully toy kingdom and removing them. So what's he going to do? The Black Knight is just going to steadfast, hands on his nugget. None shall pass.
Lee would be like, "Hey, other toys, I'll sort him out, so you can get past." And would run up and just sort of do like a big punch into his stomach.
Oh wow! So he just goes straight up.
Yeah, no, he'd just get on with it.
I mean, to be fair, he can if he's on the floor, which he very well might be, he can definitely jump onto the desk.
But he can do. He can use his chakra to just run up like the leg of the desk.
Oh, that'd look even cooler.
Right. So I think that's what he'd do. He'd run up the side of the desk and just give the Black Knight a good old punch in.
So the how fast is he running?
Probably like a relative human sort of sprinting speed.
It's a reactable speed. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
All right. So the Black Knight then is gonna, shift out his studs and get ready with his sword to do some kind of interception swipe. That's a real thing, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
He's gonna get down with his sword and go for a whoom. As Rock Lee gets nearer, ready for this punch, he'll go for a sweep with his massive long greatsword or double sword or whatever it's called. It's not a double sword.
So yeah, I think Lee, having quite good reactions, would probably be able to stop himself being cleaved in twain.
Yeah.
But would probably have to abort the attack, maybe. He'd probably just sort of stumble himself a bit out of the way.
I mean, I think he'd be able to jump over the sword, to be honest.
All right.
I mean, like Rock Lee does a lot of jumping, doesn't he?
Suck it, Black Knight.
Yeah. Like there'd be like a whoosh, and he could jump over the sword, and he'd probably still be able to keep his forward momentum.
Okay, in which case he's basically just going to dive on the Black Knight. So jumping his sword, tackling him to the floor.
What, for a kick, a punch? You said dive. Is he going to assume the diving position?
Yeah, he'll kind of like move. Yeah, it would be, I guess, just sort of arms first, try and knock him over.
Oh, okay, so he's literally going to go for like a push.
Yeah, because if he's jumping over the thing, he'll be kind of... I feel like he wouldn't have the same control he would have in a normal punch. So I'm feeling like he'll kind of push him down, maybe end up on top of him on the floor.
All right, so he like lands into the shoulders of the Black Knight, who's swung and doesn't really have much time he has loads of space because he's toy-sized. Doesn't have the time to swing the sword back, and he gets pushed straight to the floor. Boom, the table floor, which is not the floor. The desk floor. And he just kind of bounces off it. Like, I don't mean like literally bounces off it. I mean, it just goes badoing. And I guess Rock Lee, is he going to land on top? Is he springing off?
No, he'll stay on top of him. Because from there he can then sort of start punching him.
All right, okay. So he's not going to go for some swishy swish, mega swishness. Just
I don't think he needs to.
No, you're absolutely right. He doesn't need to. But
he's on top of the guy. Let's just start beating him in the face.
Yeah, he's a ninja. I thought he might do something swishy. I mean, the Black Knight, he's his sword is going to be out the way. You know, he's swung and he's got thing, so he can probably just bat him with the hilt from in front. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know when people do like that bear choke hug, where you like, you know, you hit, or either the Heimlich maneuver is a better analogy. Yeah, where you get where you're behind someone, and you get your fist and you dig it up through their chest.
Yeah.
But this is obviously to save someone's life. Well, if someone's in front of you, but you have a sword, he's gonna like try and bash him with the hilt.
So you think he's gonna hit him in the back with like the hilt with his sword?
Yes.
Yeah. I think if he did that, it would probably hurt Lee enough that he could then, then the Black Knight could then roll Lee off of him.
Okay, yeah. So like, bash, and Lee's like, and manages to like get a roll. Lee rolls off one way. The Black Knight can start standing up because he's not going to be one to be lying down with a big long sword, and he's not going to appreciate Rock Lee's speed too much at the minute because Rock Lee's only moved at a normal pace. You know, a fairly normal.
I'm still thinking then. So Lee's going to be more prepared this time for him to swing the sword as he tries to approach.
Yeah.
So Lee is probably going to try and outmaneuver him to try and get behind him.
All right. So Rock Lee's going to let the Black Knight stand, and he's going to, you know, like roll away and do a defensive standing up.
Yeah. Then, he'll try and sort of head towards the knight, try and get him to do another attack. And as he does, sort of dodge round to behind him. And then from behind him, he can do... so one of like his, air quotes, special moves he does is called Leaf Hurricane, where he kind of does like a low like sweep to take out their legs, but then before they hit the floor, kind of kicks them away with like a jump kick.
Jump kick.
Yeah, and I feel like he could do that, sort of really catch the Black Knight off guard, and then like sort of launch him off the desk.
All right. Okay.
To the floor below.
Oh, you mean like literally sideways off the desk, not like bounced down and launched up off the desk?
No. So like, because he'll sweep the legs, so the Black Knight would start to fall, and then like he kicks them while they're in midair to give momentum in the direction he kicks them. Yeah,
and I mean, realistically, the Black Knight isn't gonna. He's used to medieval combats with people who are slow and wearing armor and wielding swords.
Right.
And he's going to have gone for another swing. There's not much he's going to have been able to do against that. So his legs get taken out as he swings. He's like, whoa! And then he gets kicked in the side or the back or some place and launched off the table. He's probably going to lose his sword.
Okay.
Because, I mean, it's quite a bulky sword and he's probably been hit quite hard by this. I don't know how hard it is to hold a two-handed sword. I've not tried, but I don't imagine it's easy if you fall with the equivalent of probably 10 meters.
Yeah.
I'd worked that out just by literally holding my hands on my desk about as tall as I think Woody is and multiplying that up the desk. Actually, to be fair, it's only probably 4 body heights, so maybe 8 meters.
It's still quite a long way.
Yeah, it's not a good distance.
On the flip side, though, he might have lost his sword. But I imagine Lee kicking a suit of armor that hard probably really hurt his foot.
That's a very good point. Yes. Because he's wearing full chainmail, it doesn't matter where he hits him. Unless he hits him in the head. It's going to be chainmail.
That would sting like a bastard.
Does he even have shoes on?
Yes. Yeah, most of the ninjas in Naruto wear like sandals.
Yeah, they do. Oh yeah, so they're not going to offer much protection, are they?
No. To be fair, like I've got, because I've got a Sasori cosplay costume. So I have a pair of those ninja sandals. And just wearing them for a day, like, they don't really protect you much from just walking on the floor. Like, I mean, they're probably fine if you're used to them, but just wearing them for a day around Comic-Con, my feet really hurt.
But to be fair, he is used to kicking people in them.
Oh, so... yeah, I understand for some. Like, I'm just sort of saying, no, I don't think they'd give him much protection from kicking a suit of armor. That's sort of the point I was making.
Yes. So that's going to put him it's going to be a downer to your day.
Yeah.
It's not like the worst thing ever, but, down to your day. Meanwhile, Black Knight flies off this desk, and all the toys are like, gasp! And he lands on, is Andy's floor carpeted?
Yes. No, I don't think it is, actually.
Is it not? Let's look. Andy's room. Oh, wow, no, it isn't. It's a wooden floor.
It's a wooden floor, yeah.
Oh, well, that's going to suck balls.
Yeah. I mean, that would, like, break his bones.
8 meters. What damage would a fall of 8 meters? It's going to vary from person to person and fall to fall, but it definitely can be fatal. You know, I mean, you think about some people fall like over on the bus and die. So, but I would imagine that the Black Knight is as previously described, pretty much invincible.
Mm-hmm.
But well, he's not invincible, but immortal is probably the better word.
Unkillable.
Yes, but it would probably hurt a damn lot.
Except he doesn't really seem to feel pain.
No, but there's a difference between not feeling pain and not experiencing the damaging effects of whatever would have caused.
Oh yeah, no, I agree that he'll be wrecked. I'm just saying he won't seem really be bothered by it.
Yes, I imagine that he would, because he comes off sideways rather than like legs first, head first, or whatever. And he's wearing a bit of armor, which is going to somewhat alleviate the damage a little bit. I reckon he's probably going to break whatever arm and whatever leg he happens to land on, and probably some ribs.
Right.
This is my sweeping guess. I have no idea.
I'm happy to go with that. So essentially, he's just going to ruin one half of his body.
Yes. And then roll around. And, as he lands, so he lands and rolls. And then he'll like try to get up on his like broken arm and leg, and it just won't work. And he'll be like, "Oh, just but a bone wound, just but a break,
by a mild fracture."
Yes, that's only a mild fracture. And they'll like,
and he'll be like, "But you're flailing around."
The thing is, you can get up with only one arm and one leg. He'll probably eventually realize that those two limbs are useless and manage to get himself up onto his one good leg with his one good arm in the middle of Andy's room floor.
Yeah.
Rock Lee will probably be standing on top of the desk, like scratching his head, go, "What on earth?"
Yeah, Rock Lee would probably encourage him to not continue fighting. But like, yeah, clearly you are defeated.
Clearly you are defeated. No, just but a fracture. Come at me. None shall pass.
I feel like at this point, where if he has successfully got up and is still antagonistic, like Lee would probably, maybe a bit tentatively, but would continue the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is definitely going to be antagonistic, even if he isn't able to like. I mean, he isn't obviously going to be able to climb the desk and throw punches out.
So please consider this as maybe the most cinematic and awesome thing you can imagine a Toy Story person to do.
Right.
But what about one massive like drop kick off the desk onto his head?
All right. You know what else I'm imagining? I'm imagining Sketchy or whatever it is at the side, like sketching like a looking away face, or like a white flag, like for the Black Knight, and that microphone toy or whatever has like Bo Peep doing some, I don't know, commentary because she's actually heartless.
It wouldn't be Bo Peep. It would absolutely be a Potato Head and Hammy.
Oh my god, you're absolutely right. It would be Potato Head and Hammy. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
They'd be doing like proper like WWE style commentary.
Yeah, and he'd be betting on the contents of his belly.
Yeah,
like, oh, I'll give 2 pence to the Black Knight. And then Rex would be like, "Oh, come on, Knight, you can do this. You can do this." Woody and Buzz are somewhere else. I don't know.
Hardly unapproving of the whole thing.
Tom Hanks is like, "Oh man, remember when we were like that?" To Buzz, they're reminiscing. I don't know who acted Buzz. That's why I didn't say Buzz's act.
I can picture him. I can't think what his name is right now. Tim Allen?
Pass.
I think so. I don't know.
But yeah, like Pig is like, Rex is like, "Oh, come on, Black Knight, you can do this. You got up." And Pig is like, "Oh, I bet. Oh, that's not looking so good now." And Mr. Potato is like, "Oh yes, come on, Rock Lee, you got this." And like throws down an eye so he can see it from better. Throws down an eye and an arm onto the floor level so he can wander around and get a better view. And the Black Knight like manages to just about stand up, and he's like shaking his fist and like, come on, Wade, because he can't really. He's trying to hobble forward as well, like just about on his one leg. Like, "Come on then, I'll have you." And then Rock Lee is like, "Oh, if I must."
Rock Lee does like a forward flip off the desk with like his leg extended.
Yeah, training weights still on.
Yeah, obviously. And then just sort of smashes it down into the Black Knight's like shoulder.
It's not the head.
No.
Straight into the shoulder. Which shoulder?
Probably the currently non-broken one.
The currently non-broken one. Right, that currently non-broken one's now broken.
Yes.
So like the Black Knight just like flops straight into the floor. the chainmail makes a lovely kind of rippling sound, like as it gets bashed, and his arm audibly breaks at the shoulder. Some people might say his shoulder audibly breaks, but I'm going to say his arm audibly breaks at the shoulder.
Bone crunching.
Then Hammy's all like, "Ooh!"
If my age wasn't freeing up, I would say a ruder word.
And Rex is trying to cover his eyes, but he can't because his arms are too small.
Yeah.
He's like, "I cannot see. I can't look away. I can't cover my eyes."
Would somebody please cover my eyes?
And the hand that Mr. Potato Head threw down, like, goes to cover one of his eyes. And like Rock Lee's just like, after he smashes him, he just takes like a little step back, like a little hop, and the Black Knight's just there.
It's just a crumpled mess on the floor.
Yeah. Oh, do you think you have me? You'll never have me. So yes.
Clearly, you have lost.
Clearly, the factory is mine. You shall not pass. And it's like most of his limbs are just flopping, except his one working leg still is just like.
But then he's like one of those boats that's only got like, sort of, he's just going around in circles because he's only got one leg.
Just like scrolling around, and there's no blood or anything because it's PG-13, and
it's a kids' film. We're in Andy's room. Come on.
Yeah, we're in Andy's room. There's no blood in Andy's room, and he's crawling around, and he's like, he might get like a little bit closer to Rock Lee, and he just tries to headbutt him with his head or kick him with wherever one comes closer. He's like, "How about you?" Just like kicking his legs with his leg on the floor.
Lee just sort of takes a step back. And he's just like, no, because he wouldn't want to hurt him at this point because he's been like, well, he's definitely dead. And he doesn't like the whole excessive cruelty against your opponents and the such.
But the Black Knight's still going to be just trying to get closer. He's like, "Oh, I'll bite your legs off." Like, cover me. It's not yours yet.
Dare I say it? Right. I'm trying to think of a way that Lee could resolve this non-violently. Because at this point, like I say, he wouldn't want to. I mean, he wouldn't surrender because he's clearly won.
Yes.
But also, he wouldn't want to, be like unnecessarily cruel and violent.
Yeah.
What about if he just puts him outside the bedroom door and then shuts it?
Yes, that absolutely works.
So just like just drag him out and then close the door, and then they can like hear a muffled shouting from the door, like, "Oh, I'll get you." As soon as I get through this door, you can just hear him headbutting the door.
Yes, I love it. Right, so he grabs his broken leg and just starts dragging him across the floor. Like Hammy's like, "Ooh," and the Etch a Sketch like sketches an open door, and Slinky like drops down from like one of the shelves and grabs the door handle and opens it, and everyone's like shaking their head, and Bo Peep's like having a wank in the cupboard. Wait, what?
Oh my.
Oh my, indeed. Bo Peep's like looking away and very upset. And the door gets like open just enough, and all the army soldiers then come out, and they're like, "Hop, hop, hop, hop," like making a defensive line around him, and he's trying to bat his head around, and of course flail his leg, and all he does is like knock an army man. He gets put outside the door. The door gets closed, and all you can hear is just constant tin knocking at the thing. He's like, "Come at me, I've still got this."
And the toys just go back to enjoying their day.
Yeah,
playing checkers.
And then eventually, someone comes upstairs, and the Black Knight.
Andy's mum does, and goes, "Oh, this toy's all broken."
The Black Knight looks very broken, and obviously it says "property of Wade" on the bottom.
No, she just goes, "Oh, this toy's broken." She puts it in the bin.
Oh. I was thinking she was going to return it to me, but yeah, okay.
No.
That works. Like, "Oh, this toy's broken." Well, Andy hasn't had it for very long. Just throws the Black Knight in the bin.
Bin Knight.
The black bin man.
Black bin bag.
Yes, the Black Knight in the black bin bag. In the black bin.
Yes.
On Black Tuesday. Black Friday.
Bin Tuesday.
I don't know what Black Tuesday is.
It's the day your bins get collected.
So someone at work asked me today, "What do you think of Blackpink?" And we'd just been talking about Taylor Swift. So they're like, "Do you think Taylor Swift's attractive?" And I was like, "I honestly don't know what she looks like." So they showed me, and then they're like, "Oh, what do you think about Blackpink?" And I was imagining the singer Pink, but like a black version of her. And I was like, where is this going? What is it? And it turned out it was just a band called Blackpink. They
Okay.
were like some K-pop band. And I was like, yeah, that is not where I thought it was going. And I'm glad.
Yeah. So that's how that fight ended.
It is. It is how that fight ended.
I mean, that's certainly quite a different ending. We've not had one like that before.
No, well, most of the time we've had people who are in somewhat destroyable.
Yes.
And of course, he would be destroyable. He's just immortal and doesn't really feel pain.
I suppose it's kind of like the second arena defeat we've had.
Well, it's not an arena defeat.
It kind of is. It's like you were removed from the room and collected by the mum.
Well, I mean, it was a defeat anyway. Because he definitely was incapable of carrying on. Like,
yes.
We don't really have like rules on a timeout or whatever, but because it's normally not happened. But if there were to be a thing, there probably would be some describing thing. I mean, what would happen is we'd get the judges in from Robot and then they would decide.
Immobilized. Yeah.
And he would be ruled as immobilized, even though he's like the robots where they only have one wheel and they just spin in circles. And their axe just goes. That's like what they'd be. It's like, oh, that's immobilized. And then they get taken out by Sakillalot and put in the pit. It's the equivalent.
Yes. All right. You're saying that Andy's mum is Sakillalot?
Yes.
Okay.
In a former life.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, do you think there's any way that the Black Knight could have won that fight?
No.
No.
I feel like he would have been good against a similar human because realistically, it would have just come down to because he's pretty strong. He's been shown to throw a sword. He's been able to defeat a person. He couldn't defeat the King Arthur, but King Arthur is well known as a very good swordsman. So if he was against like, I would have been interesting if he was against my champion from last week. Although I think he would have also lost. Yeah. But that one would have been actually I'm not sure if he would have lost that. That would be a really interesting one because again, in the same way that there was lots of damage done, but it didn't remove any limbs, it just broke them.
Yeah.
Like a rapier wouldn't have really done much to him. That would have been really interesting. Anyway, yeah, I think he would have done well against other like for like beings, but you know, that's not how this show works.
No. But that means Lee has earned his mash.
He has earned his mash. Lovely, lovely mash.
Yeah.
Don't break my mash. My lovely, lovely mash. That's not how the song goes, but we'll pretend it is. All right. Okay. And you know what? I think this is from a Pixar film.
All right. Tickle me intrigued.
I need to check though, because it might not be Pixar. No, it's Disney. All right. So this character is from a Disney movie.
Yeah.
At first, they appear to be a sidekick, but then it turns out they're the main villain.
Ooh.
And they are also black. Like
right.
Black Knight is black.
Yes.
And they are responsible for the name of the main bad guy.
Okay, cool. That's interesting.
Yes. Do you have any idea?
Oh yeah, I mean I know exactly who it is.
Excellent.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. Yes. It's certainly an interesting one.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, interesting.
Cool. Yeah, so
Wow.
Tune in next time for episode 21 to see if Rock Lee can get his Mayhem.
Indeed. And watch some Scalagrim videos.
Yeah, watch some Scalagrim videos if you want to learn about armor.
And other things like
and
swords.
Watch Toy Story because it's a great film.
And watch Toy Story.
If you want to get in contact with us, you can do so over on the Twitter at podcastmmm or email us to the email address podcastmmm@gmail.com.
Gmail.
You can get in contact with us just to be like, hey, I like what you're doing. It's fun. Or, hey, I like what you're doing, but have you thought about these things? And we'd be like, stroking our Merlin beards.
I do have a Merlin beard right now.
Yeah. I mean, I can't grow one, but I have one that I can affix for when I need to do some thinking.
I mean, I was going to quote a different Merlin without a beard, but I can't find one.
Oh, okay. Similarly, if you want to suggest any characters to do some fighting, then you can do it at those places. Or if you want to suggest any places for fights to take place, that would also be quite cool. Because you might think, hey, Andy's room was a stupid place for a fight to take place. And you might have like a really good idea for where a really cool deathmatch would happen. Please let us know.
Do.
Yeah. Or, you know, if you have any ideas of how you think the Black Knight would win a fight, then, you know, you can let us know that too. We have been part of TTSS Productions that you can find over on tinkertailorsoldiersponge.com.
That's what TTS stands for.
It is what TTSS stands for, yeah. There are plenty of blogs to read there, and there is other podcasts as well as ours, including The Hat of Many Things, where they talk about random things that come out of the hat.
Not to be confused with they only talk about rabbits, loose hairs, spare change.
Yeah, not things that literally come out of the hat. They pull random things out of the hat and then talk about it.
Also, not to be confused if they don't actually do magic to pull random things out of a hat.
No, it is. Then they have a different hat every episode as well.
I believe that was a thing, yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually not even out of a hat. Really, it should be called Hats of Many Things.
Many hats of many things.
Yeah.
Or is it many hats of one singular thing?
That one particular thing being randomness.
Yes.
Yeah. Who knows? You'd have to listen to the podcast to find out.
And ask them.
Yeah. I assume there's some way of contacting them too.
And they were like, why are we getting these random questions about... Why have we suddenly got an influx of 50 questions about hats?
Yeah. And then they'd listen to our podcast and be like, Mayhem!
Mayhem!
And then they'd chase us around to the Benny Hill theme tune.
And then we'd have a fight to the death between Hat of Many Things and Mishmash Mayhem.
Yeah, I don't like our chances.
No, neither do I.
Any final thoughts today?
Final thoughts. Barbecue sauce, pretty banging, isn't it?
There you go. Whilst enjoying watching all the films and videos we told you about, drink barbecue sauce.
Don't drink it, Jesus.
And on that note, bye!
Catch you all late.